All right, you guys, let's talk about processed foods as a vegan. Now, many vegans are actually junk food vegans, and what a junk food vegan is essentially, a junk food vegan is someone who lives primarily on stuff that is highly processed. So as a vegan, I mean, depending on how you assess veganism, you can eat a lot of crap as a vegan. You can be a very unhealthy person as a vegan. Now, even though junk food veganism, most of them have the idea in their head, they're on the right track. They're attempting to do something that's ethical. But unfortunately, just because you're doing something that's ethical, just because you're excluding animal products, doesn't mean that you're doing your body a service. So I haven't eaten processed foods in a very long time. Occasionally I'll have some vegan potato chips and things like that, but that's really all of the processed stuff that I'm consuming nowadays. And let me tell you, it feels so good to not feel bound to cravings for processed vegan food, because let's face it, when I first started doing this stuff, I mean, I was eating a lot of processed food. And I even had bouts of within the past 6 months where I was eating a little too much processed foods. So I had to assess things, and I haven't eaten processed foods in a very long time. And let me tell you, it is such a different feeling to live on whole foods, things that are more considered more raw foods, things that are more in their raw state, such as like raw chickpeas and like chickpea salads, couscous salads, big vegetable green salads. You can make your own veggie burgers at home out of black beans that are plant whole foods based, instead of having all of the isolated soy protein and all the other stuff in there. So there's a feeling, you feel encumbered. What I've noticed with processed foods, even if they're vegan, is that if you eat too many of them, it creates a feeling within your body where you feel over encumbered. You feel weighed down. There were so many periods where I was eating vegan processed foods where after I would eat, I would want to take a nap. I would feel tired. I would feel exhausted. Aside from that, I would feel unhealthy. Now, compared to non-vegan processed foods, vegan processed foods are going to make you feel completely different than if you binged on a bunch of non-vegan processed foods. That was a mouthful, excuse me. And that's because you're excluding the dairy and all the other junk, the casomorphins and all of the health gene disruptors that are in standard American foods that are laced with animal products. But it's still not a good feeling, you guys, compared to how it feels to eat more of a whole foods diet, lacking processed foods as a vegan. It feels so much better. You're going to feel lighter, you're going to have more energy, your mental clarity is going to be more spot on, your thoughts are going to be more laser sharp. You have to remember, when you eat a bunch of processed foods, you guys, the constituents in those processed foods have a direct effect on the health of the biology and the consciousness, because the consciousness is intimately connected, it's tethered to this organism. And in my opinion, the body doesn't have a processed foods deficiency. It's not something that it wants, it's not something that it needs. So all the power to you if you're just now becoming a vegan, or if you're still a vegan and you're eating processed foods. You're still doing your body a huge service compared to if you were eating non-vegan processed foods. And I have respect for processed foods that are vegan, because they are a very valuable tool for people who are transitioning from either a standard American diet filled with meats and cheeses, or even someone who's vegetarian who's still eating cheese and animal products in the form of dairy, you name it, milk, etc. So it can be a very valuable transitional tool, and that's why I'm happy that they exist. I know they helped me massively when I was going from being a vegetarian to a vegan. And even when I went from being standard American, even when I went from eating standard American foods to becoming a vegetarian, I really grasped the processed vegan foods, and it helped me. It helped me get comfortable with the diet for long enough where I could create a foundation, and then I could enhance my diet and augment it from there. My lifestyle, it's not a diet, ladies and gentlemen. Veganism is a lifestyle. It addresses every aspect of life in a positive way, and that's why I get on here and I try to preach about the benefits of doing so. But again, if you've been a vegan for longer than 6 months, a year, and you're still eating a bunch of processed foods, you should really sit down with yourself and ask yourself, do you really see yourself continuing to eat this stuff? I mean, do you see yourself in the future eating this stuff? There's really no point to doing so. it is not good for your health, regardless of the fact that it's vegan. Just because it's vegan doesn't mean it's good for you. I think a lot of people think that. I think a lot of vegans that I know that I've talked to, they're junk food vegans. Most of the foods that they're eating, they're cooking with microwaves. They're eating processed foods that come prepackaged. All of the excuse me, all of the prepackaged vegan meats and things like that. So right now, my diet consists primarily of large amounts of water, large amounts of particular teas like elderberry, hibiscus, African red rooibos, things like that. My diet consists heavily of beans. Beans are one of my staples. I eat beans. I try to eat beans once a day. There are so many different studies showing that beans are directly related to lifespan prolongation. They're filled full of of amino acids. They're filled full of protein. They're good for forms. They're a good source of vitamins, and they're a very good source of fiber. Beans are my staples. Leafy greens are my staples. I eat a lot of vegetables. I don't eat a lot of fruit. Occasionally, I'll make homemade bread and stuff like that. I make a lot of veggie burgers and things like that. I still eat tofu. I don't eat a lot of tofu, but I still eat it. But primarily the foundation of my diet, my lifestyle, if you will, is just clean foods, clean water, foods that are wholesome in their natural state, such as vegetables, again, beans, legumes, lentils. I eat, my girlfriend and I will make homemade vegan cheese out of cashews and natural spices and red bell peppers that have been roasted and things like that. You see, you have to realize, ladies and gentlemen, that all that vegan processed food, you can adopt a wholesome, more raw lifestyle, lacking processed foods, and make those foods taste just as good. In fact, better if you know how to cook than the processed foods. It's cheaper, it's better for your health. You can actually know what's going into the stuff. You can make it with your own love. You can put your own hands in it. So, and I also eat some of the vital wheat gluten meat. So, and we make that, my girlfriend and I make that at the house. We take the vital wheat gluten, mix it with spices, mix it with clean filtered water, and we'll make a big batch of that, fry it up, and then slice it and then freeze it. And then we have everything we need readily available so that when we need it, it's there, we have it, and it makes things very convenient that way. I think a lot of people like the vegan processed foods, and processed foods in general, regardless of whether you're a vegan or not, because of the convenience factor. You know, if you have a job, if you have a family, if you're on the run, it's very easy to resort to using the microwave and just throwing something in the microwave, hitting the button and turning it on, and 2 to 3 minutes later your food's ready. But microwaving, ladies and gentlemen, destroys the signature, the different molecular signatures, you name it, of the food you're eating. It radiates your food. It's not good for you. It damages the nutritional profile of the food. This has been proven. It increases your risks of cancer, tumors, you name it. So getting rid of the microwave is a huge step in the right direction. And, you know, processed foods and the microwave go hand in hand. So once you get rid of processed foods, if you do that, you'll notice that you're really not using the microwave anymore. Because most people are, again, preparing processed foods in the microwave. Not everyone, but most of the people who are consuming this stuff. So, again, my girlfriend and I will make, the both of us will take a big thing of organic chickpeas that are dried chickpeas, not the canned chickpeas. We'll put it in the crock pot, fill it full of clean filtered water. We'll cook the beans for about 2 hours, turn it off and let it sit for a while, and the beans will get tender. Then we'll strain that, and then we'll make stuff like chickpea tuna, where you take the chickpeas, you mix it with a bunch of spices and stuff, and mash it down with a potato masher, and you have this kind of mock tuna salad that you can put on bread. You can wrap it in wraps. You can put it inside collard green leaves and roll it up and make veggie wraps. We put dill in it, and lemon juice, and different spices like paprika, sometimes some organic mustard, and then we'll chop up green onions and sometimes, or purple onions, sometimes green onions, and mix that stuff up. So it's really nice when you can start getting adjusted to eating foods like that, because you're going to feel so much better eating beans than, all of the processed vegan foods, such as the vegan cheeses and the vegan mock meats. You can make mock meat at home from a very small amount of ingredients, instead of buying the stuff from the store that you look at the back of the label and there's like 15 to 30 ingredients that you don't even know how to pronounce. If you don't know how to pronounce an ingredient, you probably shouldn't be eating it. That's one thing that I've noticed over the years. Looking at what's in some of these foods and then looking them up and reading what they are. A lot of them are surfactants, a lot of them are petroleum-based constituents, a lot of them are preservatives. A lot of these preservatives and things of that nature have been directly related to different pathologies, such as colon cancers, you name it. The body does not need or require preservatives. The body does not have a preservative requirement. Your body isn't built on preservatives and food colorings and dyes. So, again, the thing about veganism is I think a lot of people get comfortable with mainstream kind of junk food veganism. They get comfortable with just buying the vegan cheeses and the vegan mock meats and all of the processed stuff, drinking all the almond milk from the store instead of making your own almond milk or soy milk or nut milks with a nut milk maker. It just becomes very convenient. It's easy to fall into that bracket of veganism. I know, because I've been there. But if you can modulate and augment your lifestyle and start generating 95 to 99% of the foods you're eating from whole foods, you're going to do yourself a massive service for your health. You're going to feel better. Chances are you're going to look better. Excuse me, my nose itches. You're going to feel better, you're going to look better, your skin is going to feel more elastic, you're going to have more pliability in your skin. And for me personally, when I got off of processed foods, I noticed that my anxiety levels and my general mental well-being was enhanced 10,000-fold. Now, I'm not going to lie, I have from time to time, some depression issues, some anxiety issues, you name it. I'm just like anyone else. But what I notice is that when I let go of the processed foods, a lot of my anxiety issues and my mental kind of encumbrances started to slowly fade. So I believe that there is a direct correlation to the constituents, the preservatives, the dyes, you name it, in these processed foods and mental well-being. So in my opinion, every time you damage your physical organism, due to the fact that your mind is tethered to that physical organism, if you damage your liver, if you damage your blood, if you damage your gallbladder, your spleen, you name it, your stomach, if you take away from the proper health of your gut flora, if you're damaging the microvilli in your alimentary tract, it's going to appear in the mind as mental duress. And I do believe that that's actually a blessing in disguise. I think that anxiety issues and depression issues are just signs from your body that something was wrong and you need to change something. It's a warning sign. I think that a lot of the stuff that people are going through in terms of mental pathologies, depression, anxiety, is directly related to the foods that they're eating. And it makes absolute sense. The more you research these constituents in these processed foods, you name it, you'll find that they do have an effect on the entire well-being of the organism. And the entire well-being means that you're addressing not only the physical body, but the mental body, the emotional states. Certain foods can actually hijack your emotional states and make you feel certain emotions. So, proof of that is things like caffeine or cacao or certain foods, even foods like cheese, you guys. It's got the casomorphins in it. You eat cheese and you feel sedated. That's creating an emotional reaction within your body that's making you feel differently. And that emotional alteration affects the mind because the emotions in the mind are intimately connected. But it started off with the physical self, the physicality and the damaging that you're doing with the cheeses, the casomorphins, the opioid. The casomorphins are the natural opioid that is actually in cow breast milk, so when the baby drinks it, they feel relaxed and can fall asleep, you name it. But when humans eat that, when they drink it in the form of cheese, or when they eat it in the form of cheese, or when they drink it in the form of milk, it makes you feel sedated. It's an opioid. That affects the emotions. You feel sedated, and then your mind gets the whiplash of that. It's not a good thing, you guys. Cheese is very addicting. Most people suffer from massive cheese addictions. For most people, they have an easier time letting go of eating animal meat than cheese, simply due to the casomorphins in the dairy. So anyways, you guys, I just wanted to do a brief little video about processed foods and letting go of them. You're going to feel much better. I can almost guarantee you if you let go of the processed foods. Yes, there might be some... I know when I let go of it a long time ago, I felt kind of agitated and a little antsy the first couple days. But once you get on this train, it's smooth sailing. It becomes very simple. So it's unfortunate that many vegans become comfortable with their current level of where they're at. In my opinion, due to the fact that veganism addresses every aspect of life, it should be a constant status. It should be a constant progression of evolution. When you become too comfortable with something, that's when problems start to happen. You should always question everything you're doing, everything that you're putting into your mouth, so that eventually you can get to a state where you're at a perfected state of intake, so that you know what's in the food, so that you know it's not laced with a bunch of chemicals and additives. Just because it has a V on the front and it says it's vegan doesn't mean that it doesn't lack harmful constituents, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, you're on the right track because you're eating foods that lack animal products. But unfortunately, many of the mainstream vegan companies are actually subsidiary companies to larger companies that peddle yogurt and dairy products, you name it. So the game goes deep. But again, people should always be questioning this stuff. When you go to the store and you buy a vegan product, I think it's natural to go, okay, well, who owns this company? Are they part of a company that actually supports factory farming? And if so, should I be supporting this company as a vegan? Is it ethically just to support a company that claims they're vegan when they're owned by a bigger company that's not vegan? But yes, I'm happy that these vegan products exist, these mock meats, these vegan companies who are owned by bigger companies, because it gives people an outlet for their transition. Having access to vegan processed foods when you transition to a vegan diet can be very beneficial, but it still doesn't make it ethically just. And that's where the problem lies. And so there's a lot of things that, again, when you become too comfortable with something, that's when the problems start happening. When you sink into a rut and you just start going through the motions in a perpetual algorithmic loop of eating the same garbage every day and this and that. If you can become comfortable eating more wholesome foods, beans, even rice. I'm not a huge rice fan. I will eat it from time to time. But if you can get used to eating beans and making your own breads and making your own soups with organic vegetables, start a garden. Get organic herbs and spices. Invest in your health. Buy good quality salts. Stop using the white table salt. It's filled with, there's no minerals in that. It's destroying you. It's ruining your blood system and it's affecting your pH. It affects every part of your well-being when you consume white table salt. Get on pink Himalayan salt. Get on Celtic sea salt. Make subtle improvements every day. If you're not willing to completely just load the jump program and go from point A to point B, like my girlfriend and I did, one night we did a ton of research. We knew it all. We decided one morning to just completely cut out the processed foods. Completely. And we haven't looked back since. And we're both experiencing the beneficial effects of that. It's a beautiful thing. It's nice to not feel... There's an addiction quality to this as well, you guys. You get addicted to certain processed foods, and there are so many exciting flavors within processed foods. Remember, the companies are engineering these foods so that they taste so good that you constantly want to eat them. That alone makes me not want to eat them, because I don't want to eat a product that was designed to get me addicted and hooked to it. I can eat natural foods and eat until I'm full and be satiated and not want to keep eating all these foods, these processed foods full of excessive sodium, excitotoxins, you name it. But But if you can't go from point A to point B, which you actually can. Most people just have their subconscious entrained and programmed where it's actually working against them, and they have to kind of work in baby steps towards an eventual goal. And if that's the case, so be it. At least you're working towards a better, more healthy you. But making little improvements, you guys. Getting away again from the white table salt. Get yourself a nut milk maker. Stop buying the almond milk from the store, which filled with a bunch of additives and preservatives, and it can sit on a shelf for 3 months without going bad. Real almond milk will only last about 5 days because it's real. It doesn't have a bunch of preservatives and garbage in it and color stabilizers to keep it looking fresh when it's actually not. Remember, just because something tastes and looks fresh because it has preservatives in it doesn't mean that it's still not old. It is still not meant to be consumed. It violates the natural biological laws of nature. That food should have been broken down already. Real food actually biodegrades. It doesn't last 4 to 6 months on a shelf or this and that. It's amazing the type of foods people are eating. People are eating from fast food restaurants. Some of these burgers at these fast food places, they'll last over a year and not even start breaking down. No mold, you name it. If you don't believe me, you can go onto YouTube and type in, I think it was The Doctors or it was Dr. Oz. One of those two shows. They actually showed, I believe the woman had a 6-year-old cheeseburger. And it looked exactly the same 6 years later as it did when she bought it. I'll put a link in the description box if I can find that. It might not have been 6 years, but it was something over 2 years. And it's just like, wow, we're eating this as a culture. This stuff is everywhere. If you drive down the street in the Matrix in a mainstream city, you will find burger joint after burger joint, fast food places, quickie marts, supermarkets that have all the processed foods, gas stations that have all the processed foods, and the candies filled with gelatin and different food colorings, you name it. The food colorings are directly related to a multitude of different pathologies, cancers, and physiological issues. So chances are, if it looks neon, you shouldn't be eating it. Very unnatural colors. You want to consume colors, ladies and gentlemen, pigments from natural foods. So instead of drinking the soda pop and all the garbage, how about getting a pound or two of hibiscus flowers? I can get about a half pound of hibiscus, organic hibiscus, for about $6 to $7. So for under $15, I can buy a pound of hibiscus. That can last me a very long time. And in investing $15 in some tea instead of $15 in soda, it's going to give you so much more benefit in the long run. People don't think like that. They're hooked to this stuff. The soda pop has all the aspartame in it. It's got all the excitotoxins and the corn syrup. That stuff is directly related to not only destroying your health, but it's very addicting. The products that you're consuming, if you are a standard American eating all of the garbage, ladies and gentlemen, the products are filled with excitotoxins, chemical additives, and different flavoring agents that are engineered to keep you coming back to pay for it. You keep the customer hooked, they'll continue to dish out the money. So they engineer foods to be addicting because they want you to buy it, because they want to keep their company up to par. They want to keep making millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars on your lack of health. You're paying them, you're actively participating in destroying your health, and you're paying for it. We live in a very backwards world, ladies and gentlemen, and that's why I try to get here on this channel and inspire people to see some really common sense ideologies under a new light. Sometimes people just have a difficult time understanding simplicity, and I'm trying to break this stuff down to the best of my ability in hopes that it can reach people and help them. So, in my opinion, based on my own experiences, trial and error, experiments, etc., the greatest way to begin augmenting your lifestyle and increasing your health is to begin stimulating your willpower by eating better foods, drinking better fluids, taking better care of your health, get away from all of the garbage toothpaste, address every little part of your life and modulate it. Address the deodorant. What type of deodorant are you using? Is it filled full of aluminum byproducts directly related to Alzheimer's, cancers, you name it? There are so many different toxins, you guys, that are related to neurological damage in deodorant. It would blow your mind. And where do you put that? You put it under your armpit, where you sweat. It goes right into your lymphatic system. It goes right into your tissues, into your bloodstream. That's just one thing. What about your toothpaste? What about your shampoo? But it's so difficult, Sacred Serpent. Why you got? Well, I don't want to have to do this. Well, then you're probably not that interested in your health, because once you realize that it's just as easy to buy vegan hair care products, skin care products, cosmetics that are good for you, that are vegan, it's just as easy to do that as it is to buy your garbage. So people say all the time, you take it a little bit too far. Addressing everything. Well, I don't want to have to do all this thinking. Well, it's like you're already spending money on shampoos and cosmetics, skincare products, you name it, that are horrible for you, that have constituents in them that are directly linked, been proven to cause problems with your health. You're okay doing that, but you're not okay just doing like 10 minutes to 30 minutes to an hour of research and completely addressing all the stuff that you're putting on your skin. I mean, how hard is it to do some research? How hard is it to go to the store and buy some... I mean, the mainstream stores nowadays have vegan toothpaste. You can buy it on Amazon.com. How hard is it to buy or make some natural deodorant? My girlfriend makes deodorant. It works just as well as the store-bought crap. And it has like 4 to 5 ingredients in it, compared to the long list of constituents in your typical mainstream deodorant, your antiperspirant. It's a joke. So veganism, in my opinion, real veganism is not just about addressing health through food and fluid. It's about addressing the cosmetics. It's about addressing every part of your life. It's about addressing the quality of air that you're breathing in your home. It's about addressing the quality of clothing that you're putting on your skin. We wear a lot of fibers that are far from natural. And most of us are sleeping in beds that are filled with fire retardants, chemical additives, you name it. So, I mean... I guess people could say, I don't believe I take it too far. I like knowing the truth. And if I don't know the truth about the quality of the stuff I'm putting on my skin or what I'm sleeping in, then I'm technically falling short to understanding the truth. I consider myself a truthist. I want to know the truth so that I, from knowing the truth, can create a foundation of understanding where I can improve my life. I want to experience a good quality life full of energy and a lack of unhealth. I want to be healthy. And you're not going to do that sleeping in fire retardants and putting stuff on your skin that is destroying your health. Everything that you put on your skin, ladies and gentlemen, is absorbed. The body absorbs things very readily, transdermally, topically through the skin. So, I like the quote, if you wouldn't put it on your skin, or if you wouldn't eat it, why? If you wouldn't eat it, why put it on your skin? Especially when your skin is hungry. It'll eat what you put on it. You should put coconut oil on your skin, or cacao butter, hemp oils, even some olive oils. If it's real olive oil, it's very good for the skin. You can mix magnesium into that. You can make a magnesium body butter. It's just, man. So I wanted to talk about processed foods in this video. I kind of went off on a few different tangents, but it's all relative. I'm going to wrap this one up, you guys. On behalf of the Sacred Starseed Serpent Uraeus YouTube channel, thank you for watching this video. I hope that my videos can help inspire you to see the common sense rationale in questioning your day-to-day algorithms when it comes to what you put on your skin, what you eat, what you drink, you name it. I hope that my videos and my channel can help inspire you to go out today, if you haven't done so already, and get yourself a water filter. Start changing things in your life that you know deep down are destroying your health. You know it's not healthy to be eating a bunch of white table sugar. You know it's not healthy to be eating a bunch of white table salt. You know it's not healthy to be eating out of the microwave. You know it's not healthy to be eating a bunch of processed garbage, but you do it anyway because it's a convenience thing. But to wrap this one up, what my girlfriend and I do now, once a week, we will just spend a day pretty much cooking everything we need for the following week. And that way we have it ready. So now you have real food that's convenience food. You take it out of the fridge, you warm it up on the stove, whatnot. You can thaw stuff out. It's all there. It's all ready. And it's just much easier that way. It's nice knowing what it is. It's nice knowing exactly how the foods you're eating were made. So we make our own foods. We know what went in it. A lot of these foods out here, these processed foods, you have to be careful. There's a lot of recalls, ladies and gentlemen. They're constantly, excuse me, they're constantly finding chunks of plastic and metal and glass in things like just processed foods, even cashews, stuff like that. So you have to be careful what you buy. Look through your food before you start making your recipes. Approach everything gingerly and you'll be fine. But again, it's amazing how many recalls there are on processed foods. Where, oops, we slipped some dairy in that, or oops, there's shards of glass in that. Oops, there's this and that. And that's why buying foods in bulk that are raw, that are wholesome, is a good thing, because you know what's in it. You can look at it before you make whatever you're making to make sure there's no issues with it. You can be careful that way. You can be safe that way. And the amount of love that goes into the foods you make. I mean, food is a form of alchemy. You're taking multiple different things, bringing them together, and creating an end product that is tasty and that is supposed to be nutritious. It's a very profound form of alchemy. But you're the alchemist. The mainstream supermarket processed foods, they don't know what's best for your body. They're creating a product to fulfill a demand because they want money and they want you to be addicted to these products. So they fill them with excitotoxins. They even fill them with preservatives because they want that product on the shelf for as long as it takes until it gets sold. So if you make a product that can last multiple months on the shelf, chances are it'll be bought and consumed before that shelf life is extinguished. And that's the thing about preservatives. They want the fucking, excuse me, trying not to cuss on these videos. I'm not gonna go back and edit this. I did a good job 30 minutes into the video. I haven't cursed yet, but I just let out an F-bomb, but it is what it is. They want these companies want, that's the secret of preservatives to a large extent. It's about keeping something fresh for as long as it takes for it to be sold. Because if you're selling foods that only last a week and you don't have a lot of people, let's put it this way, something that lasts 6 months has a much bigger chance of being bought than something that lasts a week, depending on the product. They want to guarantee that they get their money out of their low quality garbage that they're selling you. And that's why preservatives to a large extent are in the foods. You really think that these companies care about you? They want your money. And that's why they use the cheapest ingredients available and they lace it with garbage. Excitotoxins, preservatives to get you hooked and to make sure that product gets sold because they need their money at the expense of you ruining your health. But again, vegan processed foods are a great start, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but get yourself a water filter or a water distiller. I prefer water distillation, but I don't embrace typical water distillation. I put my distilled water through a complete restructuring process. But a simple water filter will do just fine. A countertop unit, a reverse osmosis unit. The Omica water filter that's about $500. Their RO system is awesome. You shouldn't have to spend an arm and a leg to have good quality water. That is an awesome system for about $500. Address the type of sugars that you're using. Again, most white table sugar is not vegan. They bleach it through animal bone. You want turbinado sugar. You want raw sugar. Addressing simple things like oils, sugars, and salts is a great way to begin, augmenting your lifestyle, because many vegans just aren't aware of the fact that most vegans look at sugar and by default, for some reason, they think it's automatically vegan. But it's not. So address your sugars, you guys. Address the amount of processed foods you're eating. Address the quality of fluids that you're drinking. Address your salts. Get yourself some Celtic sea salt, some pink Himalayan salt. And there's a huge amount of awesome salts out there, you guys, that use Himalayan salt and Celtic sea salt as a base, such as, the smoked applewood salt from Frontier Herbs. You can buy that in bulk on Amazon for really cheap. It's awesome stuff. The chili lime salts. There's green tea salts. There's black lava salts. There's red salts. There's even blue-green algae salts. Salt is a really interesting subject unto itself. I'll have to make a video talking about salt and salt alone in the near future. But for now, we're about 35 minutes into this, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to wrap this one up. Again, on behalf of the Sacred Starseed Serpent Uraeus YouTube channel, thank you for watching this video. If you liked this video, please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so you can get updated and frequent videos from me talking about a broad range of health subjects and things like Kundalini, you name it. Please leave comments in the description box. You can ask me questions. What would you guys like to hear me talk about in these videos? A lot of the videos that I make, you guys, are a byproduct of reading people's comments. So if you have something you want to hear me talk about, leave a suggestion in the comment box. Hit the like button. Again, network my videos around if you believe that these videos can help people. I'd greatly appreciate that. And until next time, peace be with you all.